Hey guys, welcome to the Leadership to Wealth podcast. On today's episode, it is a crushing episode, and let me tell you why. Our guest today really challenges us on a couple of topics. Have you ever asked yourself, how can I get better in my health or in my relationships with my family or business? Well, we talk about all of these topics, and he really goes after the aspects of building yourself physically in your fitness, building yourself financially, building your mental development and your relationships, and how so often we can get caught in the trap of watching other men achieve, watching other men succeed at things, and not doing that in our own life. And he goes after the topic of how to be a strong man in your own life. Today's guest, Craig Bongelli. Craig, great to have you on the show today.
Happy to be here, man. I appreciate it.
Okay, Craig, before we get into all of the learning about you, learning about what you do, your business insights, all this kind of stuff, I got to ask you, as a guy, I remember back in high school, and guys would always make fun. It's just something we would do as like a rite of passage. Take your last name and start making it all sorts of things. I got to ask, with a name like Bongelli, I mean, you've got both Bong and Jelly in the last name. Did you guys ever do that kind of stuff?
There were a few plays on it. I don't know if anything ever stuck too much.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Were,
there's
were you just too strong that everyone's like, no, don't make fun of Craig. Don't make fun of
actually,
Craig.
man, I'm sure we'll get into this on a couple different levels, but I was a skinny nothing in high
Yes.
school. I
Yes.
barely attended a lot of my high school years and was definitely not the physical presence that I am today when I did attend.
Oh, okay. Wait. So hang on. So you were a skinny kid back in high school, and what? And you said you didn't attend a lot of it. Come on, tell us a little bit. There sounds like there's a story there. Where are we talking about? Were you? Did you grow up in the Kitchener area, or?
Yeah, I did. I grew up in the Kitchener area. For my grade 9 year, I was earmarked for like an advanced high school program. I went to the first year of that, did really well. Um, Decided I didn't want to continue down that path because languages was one of the requirements, and I was absolutely brutal at them, which I've since corrected. Went back into regular high school, and honestly, like I was unbelievably poor growing up. I didn't really enjoy the school process. Like by 16, I had at least one job, was working at least 30 hours a week. Sometimes I'd have up to 2 jobs. I'd be working more than that. And I couldn't figure out why I wanted to go do geography when I could be making the big dollars of $6 an hour minimum wage or whatever it was at that point in time.
Woo! Yes.
Right. But to me, I'm like, listen, I don't need this. I need food. And geography doesn't get me food. Money gets me food. So I was not overly studious. Between getting drunk, stoned, or going to work, I had way better things to do than go to class.
Yes. Okay, I get that. I mean, I've got my sordid past as well from high school days, and actually moved out myself when I was quite young, at the age of 17. And so, now mind you, at that time, minimum wage here in Ontario, Canada, was half of what what you were making. So, woo, you were making the big
I was making the
bucks.
big dollars.
The big dogs coming in. Okay, that's great. And and now, can you say, you were saying that you guys were poor. Can you say something to what was there and what you were seeing for your future at this point in time? I mean, for some of the younger viewers or listeners, what was that like as you were looking to, I don't know, some of your peers might have even been talking about going on to university or college or whatever, but yet you were not seeing that at that point in time. You were seeing something else. What were you looking at?
So when I was 17, I was born in December. So I'm always a little bit younger than the typical people I would have been in the same grade with.
Yeah.
So at 17, I work a full-time job. I do the night shift or the late afternoon shift at a call center.
Yeah.
And I'm also
Yes.
working 4 or 5 nights a week as a bouncer. So by 17, I'm starting to get a little bit bigger, although I'm still not very big.
Yes. Yeah.
And I'm talking to people who are talking about university. They're talking about going here. They're talking about taking a year off and traveling. And I'm doing the math on it at that age. And I'm thinking,
Wait. Hang on. You were bouncing at 17?
at 17, I started.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's great. Okay.
Yeah.
You couldn't go in and drink, but you could.
But I could
stay
kick
outside
people
and
out so they couldn't drink.
Yeah.
I used to make that joke. They'd be like, "How old are you anyway?" I'm like, "I'm not even old enough to get in here, but you still got to leave." But they're talking about university. They're talking about college. They're talking about traveling Europe for a year. And I'm doing the math on that. I'm just thinking 10 grand, 15 grand, 20 grand a year. Like, what are you even talking? You might as well have been talking to me about the money Elon Musk makes when you were talking about university tuition. I'm like, that's insane. You guys are all nuts. So for a significant period of time, I was just my sole focus was, where am I sleeping this week, this month? What am I eating tomorrow? After that, the entire trajectory of my life changed. At 17, I met Scotland's strongest man. He was in Fergus, Ontario for the Highland Games. And up until that point, I was just boxing. I was 6'2", 150 pounds, and boxing was it. And I met him. I was like, whoa. I felt like I had been struck by lightning. He's this guy. He's super strong, Scotland's strongest man. He competed at the world's strongest man. Very strong dude. 6'2", 270 pounds, covered in tattoos. And I felt like I'd been hit by lightning. I'm like, that is a man. That's a man. That's the first time in my life I've seen a man. I called my boxing coach the next day, quit, and started on my journey to become a professional strongman, which ultimately gave me my career.
Wow. So I've got to ask the question, dad in the picture, not in the picture?
At that point, no. We've got a good relationship now. We've reconnected since, but at that point in time, no.
Yeah, because when you just said this was your picture, of a real man, a real strong man, I was thinking, okay, that what was your image of your dad? Must not have been present, and that's really interesting. So, okay, wow. First of all, I just kind of got caught off there when you said 6'2", 150 pounds, because I was 5'8" and 145 pounds. So I'm thinking you were pretty lean.
I was skinny, man. I was skinny. You could say skinny. I had big curly hair. I looked like a Q-tip. For real.
Okay, that's great. And no sports in high school or anything like that?
No. I've really only ever taken to combat sports and strength sports. When I started lifting weights, I was approached by a local university because I was lifting weights in their facility. I was maybe 19, and I'm pressing 315 pounds over my head for reps.
Wow.
And so a coach in there goes to get the football coach, who comes out. He's like, "Have you ever thought about playing football?" I'm like,
"Hey, son."
Right.
Yeah.
And I'm like, "Listen, man, I'm flattered. I'm interested. I want to watch a practice, but I'm watching all this stuff happen. And I don't know at this point in time if they're saying end zone like the letter or end zone like the end of a book. Like, this is how little I know about sports." Yes. And I'm standing there and I'm looking at all these kids, and I'm at 19. I've been training like crazy. I'm big. I'm strong. I'd be the strongest guy who would be on that football team. Well developed in a muscular sense. And I'm looking at these kids and I'm like, listen, they're not paying me to do this. They're not giving me anything. It's not a full ride scholarship. It's not a salary. So I'm going to what? I'm going to take a spot from another kid who loves this, who loves it. So I can what? Say that I did it? I'm like, I'm going to go be a strong man. Forget this.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. I was fortunate that I got into rugby, and I also was working, I was working at like Denny's, the graveyard shifts, this kind of stuff. And then still trying to finish off school during the day. And then, going back to my one room apartment and that kind of stuff. And, but I remember playing rugby was huge for me because it gave me some camaraderie. It also got me into the weight room, started working out, and but I remember there was some rage in me back then, and which also helped on the street because I got into a street gang. But there was a rage in me, and that was one of the things that I loved about going into the gym and picking up weights was it it just gave it gave an outlet for that rage. And and then even looking in the mirror afterwards, which is funny. That'll come from full circle because now I got two boys of my own as well. But uh, you know, was that in there when you saw this opportunity of being a strongman? Was there something like that burning in you at this point?
Uh, I I wasn't a huge fan of my life in any direction, and
Yeah.
had self-loathing to varying degrees
Yes.
has fueled
Yes.
a massive amount of my success. But I mean, in any area, I don't know anyone who is having a major transformation in their body, in their finances, in their work ethic, who isn't brutally unhappy with where they are now,
Right.
or at least brutally unhappy that there's a gap between where they'd like to be and where they're sitting. Like if
Yes.
that's not really pissing you off, then you're not going to go there because
Yes.
it's hard to go there.
Yes.
But it wasn't any of that motivated me into strongman. It was this awesome experience, and I mean that as awe-inspiring
Yeah.
of meeting this guy and being like, I can't believe that's possible. I was actually I've got 3 stepdaughters. Um, I was talking to the 14-year-old last night. I was driving her to rep basketball practice because she was telling me about some cool things she's seen that she might want to learn. And I talked to her about this experience meeting him. And I believe that whatever you believe religiously or spiritually, doesn't matter to me, the universe, let's call it, has placed in you the blueprint for the man you are supposed to be. And it is revealed to you in those moments where things catch you. And it doesn't have to be the one thing you dedicate your life to. But if you see a man who's a great father, you're just like, whoa, look at that. If you see somebody who can play piano, who can speak another language, who has a Ferrari, who has a great podcast, and you go, whoa, now that's what's up. That is, in my opinion, a spotlight on the blueprint of who you're meant to be. And you are doing yourself and your life a disservice if you don't chase it. And that's all I felt. It was just that, yep, that's it. I can feel it. That's it. I have to do that.
Yeah. Wow, that's really that's really deep. I've got 4 kids, and they're all teenagers.
My
They all
condolences.
2 girls and 2 boys. The my oldest daughter's 19 in university right now. Second one getting ready to go off, and I'm getting all of those same questions. And what you're hitting on right now is that real question of they're asking themselves, what's next? What am I, I'm supposed to, I went from being able to play around and do whatever, and now I've got to make some real decisions. And I don't know what it is that I want to do. And I love how you're you're sharing this about, there's something in that blueprint that will reveal where you're supposed to go. Can you say more about learning to recognize that?
Yeah, to be honest, I think it's very simple.
Yeah.
I'll give you an example within.
I need simple. I like
I'll give
simple.
you
Okay.
2 simple examples. I'll give you
Yeah.
one within the area that is my expertise, which is
Yes.
physical training, and I'll give
Yes.
you a life example.
Yes.
So within physical training, if somebody's like, because people come to me and they're like, okay, I want some advice to get in shape, and they expect that I'm going to tell them you have to be big, you have to be strong, you have to be lean, and I don't care if other people are that. I want to be that, and I'm good at
Yes.
making people that. But if you
Yes.
want to be something else, that's cool. And they're like, how do I make my goal? Like, pick this up. Go to your Instagram For You page or your YouTube For You page and go through the videos it thinks you're going to like about either what people look like or what they can do with their body. Because this thing's probably figured you out better than you have. If you're like, There are all these snowboard videos on my YouTube For You page or on my Instagram For You page. And when you watch them, you're like, whoa, look at that. Like, and you scroll through, you watch 10 of them. Like, that's how it figures out what you like, obviously. The things that you admire, when you look at them, you're like, damn, can you believe somebody can do that? Yes, that's what you should do. That is your signal. Because other people are looking at it. I watch a snowboarding video, I'm like, yeah, that looks cold, weird. Like, I'm going to get on this weird little tube thing and slide down a hill in the snow. Why in the world am I going to do that? But somebody's going to watch that and be like, whoa, look at that. They're going to see that when somebody runs a marathon. They might see it when somebody deadlifts. They might see it when there's a thing on their page and they're like, these 4 villages in the world have the oldest people on the planet who are still healthy. And they're like, that's amazing. Cool. Longevity is your thing. But it's the thing that causes you to admire it. The thing that causes you to marvel. You're not just meant to marvel at it. Marveling step 1. Then you're meant to get it. And then I would say step 2. And I wasn't sure if I was going to talk about relationships or money, but I'm going to go with money because it's on your t-shirt. When it comes to money, there are people who hear about somebody who retired at 40 years old and lived in a very modest house and drove the same Toyota Camry for 20 years and then just had all this time to do their garden and hang out with their grandkids. And they're like, wow, they made it. And then there's somebody like me who sees that and I'm like, where's your Ferrari? Get a Ferrari. Why did you, if you could retire at 40, you could probably have a Ferrari at 50. Why didn't you get a Ferrari? And there's going to be things in the middle. There's people who see the big house. There's people who see the money in the bank. There's people who are like, and passive income's a funny one because everybody with a pyramid scheme wants to pitch it to you. But there's people who go, wow, they've got a real estate portfolio that pays them 70 grand a year that they can live off or whatever. Whatever the thing is that gets you, that's what you're meant to do. Grandpa might tell you need to retire and save and pay off your house and live very modestly. But what excites you might be a Ferrari and a big house and a Bengal tiger in your backyard. Or it might be the reverse. You could go on Instagram and be like, guess I need a Lambo. But if that doesn't pump you up, if you're just like, hey, I really admire this couple where the woman got to stay home and raise the kids and the man went to work, but he was very smart with where he put their money and he continued putting it into an S&P 500 for 20 years and they could modestly retire, blah, blah, blah. I admire that guy. Cool, there you go. Forget the Lambo. Forget the Lambo. That's what you admire. That's your blueprint. And then when you take all of these different areas, and I believe there's 4 areas that people need to focus on, but when you figure out what you admire in all 4, then you build that, and that's your unique blueprint.
Mm-hmm. Wow, that's some really insightful stuff. Here I am. I went down the road of real estate. I used to work for the federal government for quite a number of years. There was some angst there, and I was like, there's something missing in this, and part of it was, I would take on extra jobs, and I just wanted to be able to have more decision making. I wanted more freedom, all of this kind of stuff. And one of the things that I realized in real estate was growing up in a 2-bedroom apartment, with 5 of us in Scarborough, Ontario, with I don't know how many thousands of roaches. That I realized, okay, just having a piece of grass to be able to mow would be pretty cool. Now, since realizing real estate's so much more fun with that, but really having a passion for teaching about investing and stuff like that, right? That took me down that road. But there was so much trial and error, and you've just brought an area of psychology there that I love, because something as simple as Instagram, social media, those algorithms literally sit there trying to figure out what are the things that you like and can give you insight. If you're like, well, I don't know what it is. I don't know what I like. I don't know what I'm passionate about. You're right. These things can give you a clue and insight into what that is that you're about, what you like, and at least at the very least give you a starting spot for seeing the road that you want to go down.
Absolutely right. It's at least a place to start.
Yeah, Actually, so I've got to be honest. Now I'm curious. I'm thinking I've got to go look at my I got to go look at my page and see what it tells me about me, what it shows. Because I remember when I first started on TikTok and it would be giving me all this stuff, and I was like, I don't know who they think I am. They're figuring it out maybe based on my age or something like that. But slowly it started changing. Um, and it stopped giving me a bunch of young girls dancing, doing the different TikTok dances, and it cleared that out of my profile. So I was like, okay, so this thing is starting to learn me. So that's interesting. I'm actually going to take that on. Thank you very much, Craig. Guys, if you're listening, I really I love this and I wanted to promote it. I want you guys to think about this. Just take a moment and go in and see what it says and see if that's in line with who you are, what you're doing, or maybe if there's an area to explore. You don't need to leave your job. You don't need to chuck your business or any of that kind of stuff. But maybe if there's that little piece that you're like, hey, what am I missing? It might give you some insight. It might give you a little piece into the blueprint that is you. And I love that's what you're sharing, Craig.
Yeah, and what you just said is important too.
Yeah.
If you get on there and what you admire is a wholesome family man who is there for his family, devoted to his wife, blah, 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 whatever. And you get on your For You page and it's a bunch of girls shaking their boobs. Maybe you got to reinvestigate how you're spending your time, because it might also reveal to you there are holes in your character, that there are ways you're acting that are not in line with who you want to be. I always try to imagine, and I won't belabor this point, I promise. I always try to imagine if there was an alien watching you who could not understand English, but who could only decide based on what they watched you do for a week. They had to give a report to the other aliens. Hey, this is what this guy cares about. This is what's important to him. How different would what they said be to what you'd like to say? And I'll give you a very easy example using the phone again. It matters to me that I'm an engaged dad. I want to be a good dad to the definition that I have. And the vast majority of that is engagement. Because I'm sure having teenagers, you understand, you can't guarantee the response back that you're going to get from what you do. But you can guarantee your output.
Yes.
So if I sit here and I go, hey, how was school? Sorry, what?
Yeah.
Biology?
Distracted, looking at your phone. Yeah.
Now, if an alien watches that happen, they can't understand what I'm hearing. Or sorry, they can't understand what I'm saying.
Yes.
If they watch that interaction, they go, this matters more than that other human. This is
your phone. You're looking at your phone. That matters more. Yeah.
Of course. There's not a chance in the world I'm looking at that. If Elon Musk walked into the room and sat down, I'm not talking to him over my phone. So if they watch that happen, they'd go, oh, whatever this thing is, it ranks higher in his personal hierarchy than the phone. It'd be the reverse with most people and their kids. So you can ask yourself, looking at that, if this is contrary to the man I want to be, what am I doing? Is this thing showing me things that inspire me, that it knows the things I spend my time on and the things I look at are the things that matter? Or is this a portal to my vices?
Ooh. Yeah, absolutely. Because social media can really be a distraction. You do whatever you do, and you're trying to, like movies, like video games, like whatever it might be. It can come across for you as a distraction, and so you will take it. This takes me away from the world that I have not built for myself, the world that I wanted, and I've not created that. And this is really powerful stuff. My wife and I just went to Dominican Republic ending of last year for our anniversary, and while we were there, and she said a couple things. Oh, it's so great to escape, and I was like, I'm not trying to escape. She's like, well, just to get away. I was like, I'm not trying to get away. What are you talking about? I worked hard to build the life that I have. I said, I'm not trying to get away from any of that. But I started examining that, and the number of people that I talked to while I was at the resort that would say the same things, just trying to get away. Oh, I remember these people. I remember this one girl yelling, "I'm living my best life ever." And I thought, this is your best life? What the heck is going on in your life back home?
In your real life.
In your real life, that this is your best life. And I think you're pointing to that, right? Like, we can get distracted in these places, not realizing that we're not building the life that we want out here in the real IRL, in real life. We're not doing that. That's interesting. Okay, just thought experiment for everyone listening and for you and I. These couple of years of COVID lockdowns and that, so many people spent their time on social media and just trying to get away from whatever their real life was, being locked down. And I'm just thinking, are you onto something here? Hey guys, look at what you've wrapped yourself up in, and maybe there's something that you need to look at apart from that to start creating your life out here. Because as a fitness coach, as a bodybuilder, as a former strongman, you have to live out here, right?
I think the funny thing is, at least until VR happens 100%, and then we'll see where we go. We all have to live out here.
Yeah.
We all have to live out here. The idea that we're living anywhere else is an illusion. And the more time you spend in that illusion, the more you're slipping away from where you want to be in real life. Like, it's insane to me what people spend their focus on. I was having lunch a couple of days ago with a group of guys, and a football game came on. And again, I know nothing about sports, but I'm listening to them. And some guy comes on, and he's the quarterback. Yeah. And they're like, "Oh man, this is so-and-so. He went to this high school and he had this record, and then he went to this university and had this record, and then he got in the NFL, but he was on the bench for this many weeks, and then this guy got injured, and then he got to play and he got this many points, and then this happened." And I was mortified listening to this. The two things I kept thinking over and over and over again was, number one, you are so wrapped up in watching this man accomplish his dreams. You know his whole story. Everything about this guy accomplishing his dreams. His, not yours, his. And number two, it's like, if you took this amount of effort, because you can look at every guy on this field, you can tell me where they went to high school, where they went to university, how they got their start in the NFL, how it went, where they are now. If you applied that to your family and a couple key relationships, you'd have a better life, and you'd have so much more success in everything that you did. Imagine your boss walks in. I don't care what industry you're in. Your boss walks in and he goes, "Hey, we've got this account or this project." And you go, "Oh, this project? Yeah. It started here. Then it went to here. This guy was running it, came back over here. Now they're looking at this budget. This is their projection for the future, blah, blah, blah." And you could list those stats off like a player. You'd be like, "Oh, God damn it. Promote this guy." When I'm out with the girls, because all of my stepdaughters are daughters. That's a redundant statement. I'm out with one of the girls, and somebody will say something and be like, "Oh, their birthday's this, their favorite color is this, their favorite food is this, their doctor is this," whatever it happens to be. And people look at me like I'm amazing. Do that in front of random women who have never met you. Be like, "Hey, my daughter's birthday's this, her favorite color is this, her best friend's name is this is her favorite band, this is her doctor." They'll think you're amazing. They'll be like, "This is one of the top 10 fathers on the planet." Because most guys can't do it. But they can do that for some guy who throws a ball. And if they would apply any of that energy to their real life, they'd stop having to get their excitement out of that guy living his dream, because they'd be living it.
Yeah. My goodness. This is just some great stuff right here that you're dropping. It's so true. It is so easy to just be a not a participant, what a fan, be someone sitting in the seats watching the game being played rather than getting down in there and playing.
See, I think it's one level worse, man. I think
Yeah.
it's a vicarious experience. I think, and I'm going to give you both. These sometimes rub people the wrong way, but if I could force guys to
Come on,
take
rub
this
us the
advice,
wrong way. Let's get it.
I'm going to hit you with it.
Okay.
How normal it has become for men to live some of the most important aspects of life vicariously through other men is insane. And I'll give you the two biggest ones. One is sports and general achievement. Because guys will watch sports. You get a football fan, a hockey fan, or whatever fan. Ask them about the game last night. Oh man, we lost by 6. Oh, we got them last night, man. We got them in overtime. We play Edmonton next week. They're living that accomplishment, that rage that you felt, that you channeled into something. They're channeling it into these other guys, and they're experiencing it vicariously. The other area where I think it's completely destroying men is porn. I can't think of a more vicarious experience than that. I'm watching Peter and Sally have sex, and I'm trying to orgasm. That's a nightmare. That's a nightmare. We're taking two of our biggest drivers, and we're allowing ourselves to live them vicariously. Man, I really hope Timmy has sex with a really good-looking blonde this week and post it on the internet, because I need that. Just like I need us to win the big game on Saturday.
Yeah.
Nightmare.
Wow. It's interesting. I was just having this conversation number 2 with one of my boys, and talking about porn, and I said how it steals from everything that you get to experience. Everything you get to experience in real life, it takes away from. It takes away that motivation. It takes away what the actual event could be. When you're having it just skews all of that. It rewrites all of that. And one of the things that we see, especially with younger people today, is, and I hear this from women. They're like, guys won't come up and engage. They won't come up and talk to us. They won't. I'm like, yeah, because there's no need to. Why have to deal with that rejection when they can just go online and do that stuff? I mean, I'm old enough that I remember going into the convenience store, and you, as a kid, walking by the convenience store, and you tried not to turn your head, and just your eyeballs would turn because you knew there were these magazines up on the stands, and you couldn't even see the whole thing. But you're not supposed to look over there,
Yeah.
right? And but it was there was this taboo or this thing that was there, and now it's so readily available online that it can really why do these guys have to try to figure out how to talk to a girl? Why do they have to try to do any of this? Because there's that aspect. And it's funny because I was out with my older son, who is 16, and we're talking about this thing. We're talking about talking to a girl, and I was like, so what do you do? How do you do that? And he was like, oh, I don't know. I don't do that. But they have a term for it. They call it you got Riz. You got Riz if you talk to a girl. I was like, okay. I was like, so you think that girl is cute? He's like, yeah. I was like, so wait, so if I talk to her mom, does that mean I've got Riz? He was like, yeah. I was like, okay, hang on. All right, come on over with me. And he was like, what are you doing? I was like, excuse me. And I started talking to this girl's mom, just asking about her backpack or something like that. It was looking good. And her daughter got into it. My son is standing about 4 feet back. He does not want to be
Mortified.
Mortified. And I said, what'd you learn after that? We ended the conversation, carried on. I said, what'd you learn? And he was like, well, you got Riz. And I was like, okay, good. I'm glad I've got Riz. I said, but what did you learn? He's like, I don't know. You were just talking about stuff. I was like, yeah, you can have a normal conversation with the person. Every interaction doesn't have to be, I've got to have the perfect words. And maybe I'm one of those weird dads, but I figure, hey, let's just try and show them some of these things that you don't have to be weird about living your life. You can just do that. And And you know what? And we got to come back home and have a funny conversation with the rest of the family over this. So yeah, I think what you're sharing here is powerful. And even the sports, and I'm a NFL fan, I'm a football fan, and I love MMA. I've been watching MMA since day one when I was a bouncer, um, and and we had it on the big screen, and we're like, all of the bouncers were like, "What is this?" We were having a hard time watching the floor because we're watching this thing as these guys are coming from all different disciplines. You remember back in the day, that was just, what in the world are we watching?
It was
It's like,
wild
it was wild. It's Jean-Claude Van Damme, Bloodsport, in real life,
in real
and
life.
in real life, right? And dude comes out with one boxing glove on and this kind of stuff. You're like, what is going on? And it was such an interesting experiment. I continue to love watching it and football, but really from the mind, the mindset side of it more than the physical side of it, because you see how someone with perhaps less skills or less physique or this kind of stuff, how they take on a challenge. And it's not always the bigger man that wins, right? And it's interesting to see how performances, football, how one team's performance, even though they don't have all the best skill players, but they find a way to work as a team and overcome. But what you're pointing to is that we part, how we as guys can take this on as if this is our success.
And I'm
And
down to be a fan. I'm
yeah,
down. And I'll still watch boxing. I'll still watch MMA sometimes, especially if it's pros that I've worked with.
yes,
It's cool. It's cool to watch them, but I'll watch it, period.
yeah,
And like we took one of the girls to an NBA game recently. Like I'll go do that stuff. And I'm not against it,
yes,
but I'm against it where that is the only time you experience the feeling of achievement, or if it's the most potent achievement that you feel. If the highlight of your achievement week is that guy catching a ball and then throwing it in a hoop, or that guy
right,
catching a ball and running it across into the end zone, if that's the highlight of your achievement that week, if that's the moment you're like, yeah,
yeah,
you're messing up. Your priorities are all
yes.
messed up.
Yes. Yes, this is a key. I mean, leadership to wealth is all about the leadership part, right? And and I think you're really pointing to something powerful right there. For guys, for those of you listening, I think there's something really powerful to catch there, that what you're doing in real life has to have that competitive aspect. Not, you can't be getting that from what you're watching, from all of these things. You've got to be living that in real life and getting it, fulfilling it that way. That's the part where, if you want to get to the wealth, that's the leadership that you've got to have in your own life, doing it, taking it on, winning, losing, draw, all of that stuff. You got to be taking it on. Is that what I'm hearing?
Absolutely right.
Yeah.
Because it
Yeah.
because it is in the primal areas of aggression and competitiveness and
Mhm.
sex that we have those vicarious options. Because there is nobody, when they find out that Amazon stock went down and Jeff Bezos is down $1 billion, who cries on their couch or throws the remote at the TV or freaks out
Right.
because Jeff Bezos is down money. But
Yeah.
they'll do that if a guy misses a shot. They'll have an
Yeah.
intense physical and emotional reaction to another guy
Yeah.
having sex.
Yeah.
But we don't do that with other stuff. If I
Wow.
find out that Jeff Bezos, I don't know, his rocket didn't work and he lost $100 million, I'm like, oh, that sounds like a lot of money.
He's got work
Anyway,
to do. Yeah. Yeah.
and I'll watch a fight and I'll be into it. I'll be excited, like, oh my goodness, like watch it, watch it, watch it. Fight's over. I'm like, whew,
Yeah.
okay, and I'm
Yeah.
gone. Like
Yeah.
that's not where I feel the competitive, aggressive
Yes.
energies within me come to
Yes.
life, because those are meant for me. Those are meant for my life.
Yeah. Wow. Look, this is so not where I thought the conversation would go, but I got to say, that was beautiful. I want to make sure that we get into some of what you do, and
Please.
specifically in the area of, you should become a philosopher, though. I think you've got a lot there to be able to to really definitely motivational speaking. There's a lot there for people to learn from you in that area. But in this area of fitness, especially for myself as an older guy, you can see the gray in my beard, um, you know, getting close to 50. And I and so I'll share with you quickly. So I've been I'm getting older. I'm like, oh, I'm starting to put on the pounds. COVID, sitting down a whole lot. I was like, I need to start doing something. And so last year I started working a whole lot more on my diet. I did a 2 week fast, trying to work on that. Didn't do it perfectly, but I lost a bunch of weight anyways. And then started working out with my boys in October. We started working out consistently, Monday to Friday, picking up some
Right.
weights. It was great to see that in them. Had a great time. And then I started off this year, January 1st. I did a full on 2 week water only fast, and loved it. For me especially, I'm not recommending this. I'm definitely not recommending this as a weight loss program. Um, did I lose a bunch of weight? Absolutely, but I'm not recommending it for that purpose. There's a whole lot of things for an older guy with blood sugars and all of this kind of stuff. Um, Healthy gut, healthy intestines, and healthy colon that none of you really want to hear me talk about. But that's a lot of what I got. And one of the lessons that I got out of that, everyone's like, wow, that took a lot of discipline. And I said, yes, I was enjoying learning to listen to what my brain was saying. But one of the things that I've gotten out of it, and I've only been eating again for the last couple of days. One of the things that I got was it is easier to not do something than to do something. It was easier to not eat than it is to eat healthy. And I don't know why that is, but for you as a fitness professional, can you speak to that?
Yeah. You're drawing a hard line. You're drawing a very hard line with a clear cut boundary. And you can
Yeah.
see when you're getting close to it. So if you're doing a 2 week fast,
Yeah.
you're every step closer to the fridge you get when you're not supposed to eat, you know you shouldn't be doing that.
Yep.
Whereas if you have a diet you're following, every
Yes.
step you get closer to the fridge, you're still in this negotiation of, oh, I'm going to do the right thing. I'm going to get the thing I'm supposed to have. I'm going to get the chicken breast and the salad. You open the fridge and you pick something dumb. With this, because it's so clear cut, it's easy to follow. That's why things like keto work well. That's
Yeah.
why intermittent fasting works well. They don't do anything different for the vast majority of the population than any other type of diet. They just have more hard lines. Like if you and your wife decided, listen, babe, let's reorganize what it means to cheat in our relationship. What it means to cheat is to actually penetrate someone else. But everything before that is okay. Do you know how much harder it's going to be for you to not cheat? Okay, you're
Yeah.
kissing this lady. That's
Y-
okay. You're touching her. She's touching you. That's okay.
Right.
It's going
Right.
to be right up to the end. And now you're in a different mental state. You got a different energy. And now you got to apply the line.
Yeah.
The further you can get the boundary out. So where you're like, oh, I'm not supposed to be doing any of this. And then this
Yes.
is where I break the rules, the better.
Yes.
That's like when I talk to guys about cheating on their diet, it's the exact same strategy as cheating on a spouse. I'm not deciding not to cheat on my diet when I've got the fridge open and I'm looking at the food I'm not supposed to eat. I'm not deciding I'm not supposed to cheat on my wife when I'm in the hotel room after 2 drinks with this strange lady. I'm
Mhm.
not, my boundary for cheating is so far back from that I don't get to the point where I'm like, oh, I'm wound up and now I got to make the call. So
Right.
part of the reason it works so well for you, the rule is here, but there's all this area before it where you're like, I shouldn't have, none of this is good. I shouldn't
Mhm.
be in the kitchen right now. I shouldn't be looking at the food. I shouldn't even be thinking about the food. I should be walking to the fridge.
Yeah. Yeah, that's interesting because my family found it funny. I was cooking all the time over the last 2 weeks. Happily cooking. I was going from doing stuff from scratch. I said I'm prepping myself for the other side. I need to fall in love with all of this process again and doing stuff from scratch. And so I was enjoying that and had no problems cooking great food. Although I'd have to get them to taste it with cooking all this food. while I'm not eating at all. And now that I'm back, I'm like, oh my goodness, there's already, I can see my, my eyes, I've got blood in my eyes. I'm ready to, eat and kill anything. And so that's really interesting. I like that analogy. I like how you put that, and it's really redefining your boundaries in terms of food and keto. It's great that you pointed that out. I didn't really understand what that was about keto that I've liked, but it kind
Hard
of made
line.
it simple. This is, yeah, okay. I can eat this. I can't eat this. All right. Don't need to think. As a businessman, right? And this is one of the things for so many guys out there with businesses, or whatever it is, hard jobs, you're doing this stuff, and there isn't all of this extra processing power for dealing with those things. And so as a result, what happens? Stuff gets thrown into your mouth. And I hear this story over and over again. You walk by the kitchen, something gets tossed in you. It's in your mouth before you even realize that you've thrown it there. So how do you rewrite those boundaries? How do you create that?
Great question. Great question. So I'm looking at your shirt again.
Yeah.
So I served a couple years in the Army.
Yeah.
I was a reservist in the infantry,
Love it.
and there is something we would refer to as leaders' legs. So leaders'
Legs, okay.
legs, if you get put at the front of the run, if you have to set the pace, it is easier to do that pace than if you're in the middle or the back, because you've got the pressure of being the leader.
Yes.
You want to get better at running? Lead. You're going to push it. You're going to have leaders' legs.
Yes.
And that's the way that you improve all of these areas. The other thing that made that water fast easier for you is your family knows exactly what you've committed to.
Absolutely.
If you
Yep.
said, hey, this is my diet, I'm only going to have a cup of carbs and half a cup of fats and 8 ounces of protein at every meal, they're not measuring out your cup of carbs.
No.
They're not looking at that. You can sneak a little on. You go, hey, why are you eating that? Oh, I missed it at lunch. Don't worry, it's cool. They're not tracking that. I can't eat for 2 weeks. Now, to give you the
they actually saw. There was one time I was moving some food from one place to the other. One of my daughters was like, "Dad, no, don't do it." I was like, I'm just moving it. I'm just moving it." And I was like, it took me a moment to go, man, they are all watching what I'm doing, and you never realize how many people you impact when you take leadership in something. But
right.
that was a clear moment where they're watching, and they could say, my daughter could point out, "Don't do it, Dad.
Right.
I got you."
You've got leaders' legs.
Yeah.
You've said this. You're now with the guys who I wasn't thinking. I just threw this in my mouth. I just did this.
Yes.
Cool. Own what you want your result to be the same way you want it in your business. Because there is not because people say that. They're like, I wasn't even thinking about it. I'm like, yeah, of course you weren't thinking about it. It's not important to you. They're like, no, it's important to me. I'm like, is it? Is it? Have you ever missed an email from one of your biggest clients? Have you ever missed a deadline on a project because you just weren't thinking about it? Goddamn right. You've never done that. Never. Because that matters to you. Because you want to be successful in your business. So cool. Be successful in this too. And I think the best thing you can do for men, maybe this will work for women, maybe not, but it definitely works for men. Identify in your mind what standards you wish people believed about you. When you're not around, and somebody goes, it's easy for me now with kids to imagine, okay, what are they saying? Because they're honest. But you can use whoever you have. Yeah. It could be your parents, it could be your friends, it could be your coworkers, your kids, doesn't matter, your dog. Sorry. Be whatever it is. What do you want them to say about you in all the areas of life that matter? What kind of man are you? How do you eat? How's your physical health? How's your focus with work? How intelligent are you? Whatever it is. Yeah. And again, I believe there's 4 main areas of life that men need to focus on, but you can pick whatever matters. And then hold yourself to that standard with the idea that you're going to make it a game. I'm going to get so good at this that the next time I reach for candy, somebody in my life who's around me goes, "Yo, what are you doing? I didn't think that was your thing." You're going to be so good that they respond to you like that, and make it a challenge to yourself.
Yeah. I love it. I love it. You're just presencing me to, and I think you're presencing all of us to, you got to be present in your life. You gotta. This is what you want. Then that's it. Stop pretending. Stop. Leaving it as an afterthought. You've got to make it intentional. You've got to make it a focus.
Absolutely. Because imagine, like I said, guys who run businesses want to be successful. They go, oh, I just didn't think about it.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm your employee.
Yeah.
And I've missed 3 important emails in the last 24 hours. You go, yo, we just lost $28,000 in business. I go,
Yeah.
I didn't think about it. You'd think I was an idiot making a dumb excuse and you'd fire me.
Yeah.
We're very, very quick to believe our own excuses. Like we give ourselves really good alibis and then we accept them. But it's just an alibi.
Yeah. Wow. Love it. Love it. Absolutely. Absolutely. That is so great. And I think it's important. You talk about the importance of your fitness for every area of life, and I agree with that. Um, because I was like, okay, here I am working on my business, building that up, teaching all of this kind of stuff, working on my family, being present with the kids, that and it brought me present to, hey, your health has got to get there. And now I'm thinking, forget about your health has got to get there. No, now, today, not get there. And so absolutely. But can you just share with us why you think your fitness, your health is at the core of all of these things, of everything that you
Yes,
want to do?
absolutely. So I think the 4 areas that men need to focus on are
Yes.
their physical health, their fitness, let's call it, their money, their personal development, and I mean that like mental development, and their relationships. So for me, I want to be super jacked, super strong. I want to be able to pay for all the girls to go to university completely stress free, retire their mom. Those are
Yes.
my first 2. Number 3, I want to speak 5 languages. And number 4, I've got key metrics I want in my relationships with the girls. And she's going to be my wife in 2 weeks. So I'm going to call her my wife and my wife. So these are the 4 areas that matter to me. The
Yes.
reason that the physical one is so powerful is because there is nothing in your life that you can use to prove to yourself that you can change your reality that is more powerful or instant or fundamental than changing your body. You control everything about it, everything.
Wow.
And you could take things that are, as of right now, I could put a gun to your head, put 500 pounds on a barbell or however much weight, and you could not lift it. I could threaten to kill your kids. I could set your house on fire.
Yes.
You wouldn't lift it.
Yes.
But 6 months from now, a year from now, you could lift it. You could take something that is measurably impossible and you could make it possible. I was 150 pounds. 5 years later, I weighed 300. I doubled my body weight in 5 years.
Wow.
I changed my entire reality, my physical reality. There is nothing more viscerally powerful than you can take a vision for you and you can make it real. Because if you
Yes.
can do that, it was doing that that gave me the belief that I could learn another language and then another one and then another one. It was doing that that gave me the belief that I could take X amount of money and I could turn it into this and then this and then this. It gave me that. That gave me the ability to believe I could come up with the relationship I wanted and become the guy who could get it, who could be in it. Because I could change based on what I envision only. With a vision and work, the self you are today can be completely different. That's what fitness will teach you.
Yes. Yes. I went to your website and downloaded. Guys, you can go to Craig's website and you can download this, and it's a starter plan for fitness. You provide it for free. Just go to. Oh, I forgot the website. What's your website?
That one's probably on bongelifitness.com.
Run Down
I'll pull
Fitness.
it up. We can
Okay.
post the link
Yeah,
somewhere.
we'll post the link. That's right. And I pulled it up, and very simple. Here's some exercises to do. And you talked about a little bit about supplements, the people that are doing these different types of things. And and I was like, I like it. It's simple. It's just do it. Just go out there and do it. The reality is most of us aren't doing anything. And so just starting somewhere will help you to then even figure out what you want that next step to be. What is it in the area of food that, because there's so much out there, what do you recommend for people when they're trying to figure out, hey, what's some basic things that I can do just to know, all right, this is what I need to do on the diet side?
So I've done a couple posts about this recently and caught some flack from different coaches
Yeah.
about it. So there is a huge craze about massively overcomplicating food, counting
Yes.
your macros, weighing everything you eat,
Yeah.
on and on and on
Yeah.
and on. The
Yeah.
reason macro counting got so big is because I can sell you a customized diet that takes me 8 seconds to make and zero effort to support. Here's your protein, carbs, and fats. Download my Fitness Pal. That'll be $200, please. Good luck. It's the dumbest junk in the world, and that's why it got big. And if people like counting their macros, they can do it.
Yes.
But the reason it got huge is because now as a coach, I could say I do custom meal plans in 6 seconds a meal plan. So there's all of this complication that wants people to believe that it's way harder. Like you'll never
How many sponsored ads out there? If you're a man over 50, you need to be doing this. You're eating all wrong. All of that stuff.
Yeah. So everybody comes out with the contrarian marketing, right?
Right.
What do most people believe right now? How do I attack that the opposite way? And it's trash. I have no idea. I can estimate because I'm good with calories now, but I don't count my macros, my calories, my anything. I walk around at 6'2", 255 pounds with a 6-pack all the time. I do 5 squats. I've got veins all over my quads. I have no idea how many calories I've eaten today without sitting down and thinking it through.
Yes.
If you were to eat the way your great grandmother thought made sense, if you were to do that, you'd be 70% of the way there. Before supplements, before tracking anything, before counting anything, if you said to your great grandmother, hey, I think I'm a little too fat. What do you think I should do? This is what I eat every day. She'd be able to figure it out because number one, she'd take out anything that she doesn't know is food. We're going to cut off half of what you eat in a day for a normal guy.
Yes. Yeah. No,
if you go,
candy would be gone.
Candy gone. Doritos gone. Uber Eats gone.
Yeah.
Like, unless you're a prince or royalty a couple hundred years ago, nobody's showing up to your door with food.
Yeah.
So that eliminates all of that. And then if you just went with that, okay, I'm not going to eat anything my great grandmother wouldn't think is a good idea and wouldn't know what it is. And then from there, just monitored how you felt. Wow, if I eat a giant plate of carbs, I feel tired and kind of chubby. Like I feel fat. Not that they make you fat immediately, but you feel fat. If I eat a salad and some steak and some fruit, I feel good. You'll figure most of it out.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So great grandmother. I'm East Indian. It would have been chicken curry chicken, depending on where you're from, and rice most of the week. Most meals, even East Indians. That's by and large you're going to have that, and maybe you get some different meats in there. You get some vegetables in there, some steamed vegetables, something like that. And by and large, that's it. That's what you're eating.
You'd be gold if you did that. Because people, and the thing I hear all the time, and don't get me wrong, are there things you can do to accelerate your results faster? Sure.
Yes.
But if you just took that as a basic starting point and said that to somebody, listen, you're going to have mostly rice. It's going to be some type of generally healthy carb. You're going to rotate a bunch of different types of steamed vegetables and rotate protein sources. They go, oh, God, but I can't eat the same thing every day.
Yeah.
And that's the biggest one that gets me. I'm like, how many different things you eat in a week right now? 5, 6? Like you eat the same bagel and coffee every morning for breakfast. You go to the same Subway every day for lunch. And there's like 3 places you Uber Eats for dinner. Like, let's not get it twisted that it's variety you need. Like, not even close.
No, it's true. It's true. People go to the same places, they get the same food. When they want a snack, they're snacking on the same chips, the same whatever.
Yeah, have you ever been
That's about
like
it.
you talk to somebody who got 20 pounds to lose? He's walking down the Oreo aisle at the grocery store. Like, hey, you ever get sick of buying those Oreos every week for the last 8 years of your life? You ever need some variety from that? Like,
Wow. Okay. That's listen, I could eat like that on a regular basis, and that's really interesting. And any thought towards, perhaps my great grandmother, the rice that she might have been cooking might be very different than the rice that we're making nowadays?
yes. So this is another thing I get some flack for, but
Okay.
about a year ago, my
Yes.
fiance and I decided I did a bunch of reading. It started with a book called Eat Smarter by Sean Stevenson. And what he was talking about is the idea of epigenetic or layers above the genes that control responses in your body. And he talked
Yes.
about organic food, pre and probiotics, the effect of your gut health on your body. And I'm
Yeah.
reading that as a coach. And I've coached UFC pay-per-view fighters, I've coached world champions, I've coached Olympians, I've written 2 books. I've trained with the strongest man on the planet. Like I've done a lot.
Yeah.
I'm educated in this field. And I read this book and I'm like, yo, what? Like this isn't what I've learned. So I read more, I read the studies. And I'm like, forget it. I'm gonna try it. For a full month, I'm gonna implement every single thing that he says in this book and that I've learned from these studies. So me and my fiance Carrie decided to try it. So before doing this, I tracked our macros. I got our exact calories, exact proteins, carbs, fats for the day, like what we were doing on average. I took that number and I'm like, we're going to eat exactly the same way we have been, but we're going to put these gut health friendly systems into place, foods into place, and we're going to eat everything free range, organic, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. In 4 weeks, I lost 13 pounds while I put half an inch on each arm and took an inch and a half off my waist on the same calories, the same grams of protein, the same grams of carbs, the same grams of fat as I was eating before. No change to my routine, no change to my water, no change to my sleep, no change anywhere. She did the same thing. She lost 8 pounds. Same macros, same carbs, same protein, same training, same water, same everything. So, yes, the quality of those things matters. And the more you can do to support your gut health, the more you can do to get high quality food, the better.
Mhm.
By miles.
Wow. Okay, so now I'm mad. I'm like, wait, there is just a whole world of stuff that you are sharing that I want to ask more questions about. We've basically reached our time here. I do want to talk about your training. I do want to talk more about your thoughts in this area of eating, because there is, quite frankly, so much misinformation out there, and there's so much information out there that nobody knows what to listen to. That's part of the challenge out there. And so maybe we can entice you to come back on the show and talk. Maybe we can just have a discussion around those things. But
Absolutely.
I'm gonna put a pause on that, and guys, we're gonna have to have Craig come back. But Craig, I got to ask you, what's going on for this year for you? What are your plans? Where can people get a hold of you? What Actually, let's come back. First of all, where can people get a hold of you? Let's deal with that one.
You can find me on basically any social platform just as Craig Bongelli. I think on Instagram I might be Bongelli Fit. On Facebook, Craig Bongelli. Literally, if you just put my name in,
Yeah.
there's not a lot of other Craig Bongellis you're going to find.
Okay. Okay, great. And so, guys, go check them out. Again, you can download that simple starter plan for exercising, which my boys and I will start today. We were doing some
Dynamite.
other, yeah, we were doing some other stuff. I got a bit of a David Goggins challenge where he was doing this 100 of these different things, 100 bench press, 100 chin ups. Man, that stuff was crazy. Anyways, um, but we're gonna start that one. We're gonna start your routine today. But now, what's up for you for 2023?
So I'm going to get married in 2.5 weeks.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much. As soon as that happens, because I had to get a custom suit. I don't look very big. Like I'm seeing myself on this camera at 6'2", 255 with abs. Like all of me is big. So I never
Yes.
looked that big. But I'm pretty big. So I had to get a custom made suit.
Yes,
Um,
absolutely.
So as soon as I get married and I don't have to fit in this suit, I'm going to try to go up to like 260, 265.
I know exactly what happens for you. Because of your size, if you ever try to put on a jacket to fit your chest and shoulders, the arms are down to your feet. Like
Yeah,
they
and the
they
waist
have
is
to
so
tailor
big.
everything. And the waist, yes, you're wearing a balloon suit. Like
Yeah, they got to do
yeah.
it's a 15-inch drop they're doing in my suit to cut the jacket. So anybody who's bought a
Yes.
jacket will know what I'm talking about. I got to get a
Yes.
15-inch drop. So
Yes.
it's a pain. But after the wedding,
Yes.
I'm planning on putting on about 10 pounds. There are some
Yes.
big numbers I want to hit in the gym.
Okay.
And then, so I'm currently learning my 4th language.
Yes.
Near the end of this year, I want to start my 5th. And
What's that going to be?
The 4th one currently is
4th?
Italian. Next will be
Yes.
French.
Okay. Yes. Well,
And
Italian sort of makes sense. I mean, I'm hearing an Italian last name
with
there,
the last
so
name.
yeah.
And
I was going to ask about being from where you're from, if there's any connections to mafia, but we won't get that. Maybe we'll ask that later
I
off
told you
camera.
I have to
But
kill you.
yeah, that's right. So
Um,
okay, so Italian, and then what was the 5th language?
The 5th will be French. The girls have all
French.
done
Okay.
French immersion, so I'm going to learn that
Yes.
so I can speak to them.
Okay, love it.
And then, honestly, other than that, all of my efforts aren't helping my clients achieve things. I showed this to a couple of people. I had a before and after of a client of mine. His name's Sheldon. Absolute animal. The guy is unrecognizable in his before and after picture. But he sent me a message about his son turning down weed and booze at a party. And part of the reason his son did that at 15 years old is because of the example Sheldon has set for him. And it's so damn cool to me. That's why I spend hours every day messaging with my clients, going through their videos, updating. Like, it's incredible because it's cool to get abs. Like, that's neat.
Yeah.
Changing your relationship with your family, inspiring your family, being a better leader for the people who look up to you. It's amazing. And the exact same way it's tangible for you and viscerally obvious for you that you can transform yourself when you do it physically. It does the same thing to everybody else. They see you as somebody who clearly holds themselves to a different standard, who is clearly changing themselves more in the way they imagine they could be. And that's incredible. It's the coolest job in the world that I get to help people do that. So it's continuing to help guys do that, and it's doing the same thing to myself at the same time.
Wow. Look, Craig, you've made a huge difference just for me to here today in what you've shared. It's really presencing me to the intentionality that I want to have in my diet, in my workouts. It's even presencing me to the impact with my family, and there's so many other things that it's doing. Now I got to ask just this final question about, because some people are listening to this and they may be thinking, okay, maybe I can go download that worksheet or that schedule for working out, and people are like, but I don't know about the training or getting a physical trainer. Why should I be looking at that? What can people expect? What is that about that will make a difference for people so that they know, okay, Craig, here's the problem that people have. Here's the problem that he solves, and this is what it's going to look like for you if you go down this road and get a hold of Craig.
Okay, so the reason people should hire coaches or mentors in
Yes.
every single area of their life
Yes.
is because they understand where you're trying to go. If you hire the correct mentor, and there's 3 questions you got to ask any coach or mentor. What have they personally accomplished? Who have they learned from? Who have they already helped?
Yes.
And if somebody can answer all 3 of those questions, if I want to go up a mountain, I'm going to hire a Sherpa who's been up the mountain. If I'm not there for a tour. If I just want to fart around on the mountain and maybe find my way to the top, cool. If I want to get to the top because it matters to me. With real estate, I don't know how many thousands, how many tens of thousands of dollars, how many hundreds of thousands of dollars you could be ahead right now if you knew what you knew now when you started.
Oh
Maybe we're
my
talking
goodness.
7 figures. Like it'd be different.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So behind me is a Russian textbook. Now my Russian isn't too bad, but there's a Russian textbook that I use for learning. I have a Russian tutor. Despite the fact that I understand if I want to speak Russian, I need to memorize some grammar rules, I need to build up a vocabulary, and I need to learn to conjugate verbs correctly. That's speaking another language. But I hire somebody who can identify the underlying problems that I'm having and give me the shortest path to solving them. Hey, you're messing up the cases in Russian, which doesn't really have an English equivalent, but whatever. You're messing up this important grammatical structure. Here are the exercises we're going to do because this one is giving you the most problems. Here's how I'm going to explain it to you. Oh, that didn't make sense? Here's how I'm going to explain it to you again. Hey, you're making this common mistake. Do your pronunciation like this. And my Russian improves 100% faster.
Right.
What if I was on my own? Training is the exact same thing. When people contact me, I try to figure out first if they know what they want, if I understand what they want, and where they are relative to that, so I can see if there's a path between them. And then if I can do that, I will just explain it to them. Hey, here are all the things between you and your goal. Now, you can take this list of things and you can go solve it. You can do the research, you can read about it, you can try it, you can experiment. Or I've done this for 15 years. I've helped 200 other people on the exact same line that you're on. And here are the things that work 95% of the time. We're going to start with that. But I also know in the 5% of times it didn't work, one I had to do this, one I had to do this, one I had to do this with them. And I just implement it faster. All you're buying when you buy a good coach is speed. You're not buying anything else.
Yes.
Because I always tell people, because they'll do a testimonial for me or they'll send me a message.
Yeah.
Thank you. I'm like, I didn't do this. I didn't do this. You did this. You know how many weights I lifted for you? 0. You know how many of your meals I ate for you? 0. You know how many times I turned down a beer for you? 0.
Right.
All I am is speed. Like it's turning on your Google Maps and going, what's the shortest route to here? That's a coach. That's it. It's just if you want to get there faster. If you want the adventure of touring around and falling in the hole and climbing back out and stumbling around, do it.
Continue. Right.
Do it. And there's no problem. There's no problem. And I don't even say it facetiously. If you want the adventure of making hundreds of thousands, then losing hundreds of thousands, then making $1 million, then losing $500,000, then making $1 million, and hopefully building your real estate empire, do it.
Yes.
That's a cool story.
Yes.
When I try to make money in real estate, I go to find the best mentor I can. I go, yo, here's what I think I want to do. Yes. Am I right? If I'm right, how do I do it? Where do I start? Oh, God damn, this happened. What does that mean? That's it. I'm on speed.
Okay. I got to ask this. All right, Craig, you are quite a distance away. Everyone that's listening, you know, you're over in Kitchener right now still?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm on the other end. I'm over in Kingston, Ontario.
Yeah.
Okay. So is it possible that for us to work together, you could transform this thing into something like that from there, working with me over here? Is something like that possible?
I exclusively coach online. So with you as an MMA fan, you'll know about Jackson Wink MMA.
Yeah, of course.
So I flew down to Jackson Wink a few years ago and I wrote a book on training for fighters with their head striking coach. So I did the strength and conditioning, he did the striking.
Yeah.
And I met some UFC fighters there that I ended up coaching, some of whom have fought on pay-per-view events. One of them lived in Russia. And he's like, you need to coach me. So I started coaching him. And obviously I wasn't flying to Russia every week. And it worked better.
Right.
So I get clients to send me videos. I get them to send me updates. So instead of it being you pay me by the hour to count your reps.
Yes.
You send me a video of your squat and I send you back a video breakdown of your squat, of you squatting.
Okay.
Going, hey, this, change these.
Yes.
Boom.
Okay.
Back. And I'm there 24/7. Because the other thing, if you want me to come to 5 of your workouts a week, you're going to pay me $1,500, $2,000 a week to be your coach. Like a good coach is very expensive.
Yes. Okay. So Guys, you're watching an experiment online right now. You're listening to one. Okay, so Craig, if I, here I am, almost 50-year-old guy, turning 49 this year, and I want to take this 5'8" frame at what at let's call it 190 pounds, and I want to bring that down, find those abs again because right now it's still AB, it's ab. Find the abs again, and I'm actually I'm registering for a 5K race in April and another one in August. Just you know, in that search, I was like, all right, well, just put the things out ahead of you, and then you've got to train. But maybe I might change all of that. But if I wanted to do that and get myself in shape, what would that look like in terms of cost to do something like that and work with you? And we'll do testimonials, we'll do videos. I love it. Come on, let me be a guinea pig. What would that look like? Can
So
I afford you?
typically a 3-month program with me is a
Yes.
$1,000,
Yes.
which
Wow. Wow.
nothing
3 months is $1,000.
$1,000, nothing crazy.
Wow.
And I do 150% money back guarantee. I send you a contract. We break down what is the result that you want. We come
Yes.
to an agreement on what that result is. If you do what I
Yes.
ask you to do and you don't get it,
Yes.
I send you back
Yes.
150% of what you paid. But let me show you this real quick. So we have Inside Fitness Magazine here in Canada.
Yes.
So I told you that me and my dad reconnected, which we did. And just before his 60th birthday, he was like, man, you used to do those strongman competitions. He'd never lifted weights. He's like, I wonder if I could do something like that. Oh, you could absolutely do something like that. He's like, you think? So he competed the day before he turned 60 and ended up in this magazine.
Wow.
And there's his progress picture. After 12 weeks, lost 20 pounds at 60.
Wow.
So that's one thing that's a problem with mentors online, right? And that's why I
Yes.
started doing the guarantee. Because everybody goes, I'm your guy, send me the money. So I started going, I've been screwed by coaches. I've been screwed by people I hired. I go, okay, well, why do I do this? No, cool.
Yes.
I'm going to send you a contract. If you do what I ask, you don't get everything I promised you. Here's
Yes.
150% of your money. Done.
Wow. Listen, I've ne- never heard anything like that. Guys, if you're listening, you need to, or watching, you need to go online, go sign up. Craig, I promise I'm gonna do that. Absolutely. I want to do it.
Hit
I
me
want
up,
to
man. We'll
do
make
it.
it happen.
Let's do it. I want to do it just to I don't want any discount. Maybe you can give a discount to no, there's no need for discount. He's going to give you 150% return if you don't hit it based on that contract. We're not looking for discounts. Pay people that are worth it, right? So I'm not going to ask you for any discount. We're going to hit this, and I want to be a testimonial. I want to kick off 2023 like, and if not, we are going to expose Craig uh Bongelli if what he says doesn't work.
I'll
And
tell you what, man. If it doesn't work, what you do, you get,
yes,
all right, listen, I'm doing a $500 draw for whoever
okay.
makes like the best meme about what a terrible coach I am. The 50% extra you get back, you can offer that up as a draw for
Yes.
whichever one of your listeners wins it.
Yes.
But
All right. I love it. I love it. You guys heard it here. Okay, Craig, love it. I want to be respectful of your time. We've gone way over, and I want to be able to let you get out of here. There's still so much more that we could talk about. I'd love to have you in for part two, and maybe at that point we'll be able to. I'll even be able to share a bit of an update of
well, your
where I've
experience.
gone. Yeah, my experience, and I want people to have this area because I agree with you. If you can if you can have something that you can see every single day, I did this, I'm doing this, you can take that and point to every single area of your life and go, I'm going to do this, and know, and your brain will be forced to listen to you and say, yes, let's go do this. We did it here. Let's do it here. We
And
did it here. Let's do it here.
And that's the truth, man. And I say this to people, and I always hate that it sounds like a cliche sales pitch, but it's the truth. I'm sitting here talking to you in a body that I wouldn't have believed I could make. And я могу говорить с тебе по-русски. I can talk to you in Russian o en español. Podemos hablar de todas cosas, about everything. And I'm sitting here able to do that, sitting in a 5,000 square foot house with a couple brand new vehicles paid off in the garage, with a almost wife who didn't teach this year because she didn't have to, with a relationship with 3 beautiful girls. And none of that did I even believe for a second was possible for me at all. Like, I thought I was destined for nothing. And not even in a sad way, just in like I'd be stupid to think anything else. Like, as you learn how to solidify the power that you have over your life and direct it at something, the results you can have are hard to fathom. Your wildest dreams today, starting out, if you're a guy who doesn't believe in himself, who doesn't know how to accomplish things, who doesn't understand his power, the wildest thing you can dream is 10% of what you can do.
Wow. Actually, I'm going to think about that one. I think there's something to that as well. Just in any area, not even just fitness, but yeah.
Absolutely. In every area. Every area.
Yeah. Wow. Okay, guys, Leadership to Wealth Nation. I know you guys are loving this conversation, and it's a departure. We didn't even get to talking about business that Craig's built, and all these people that he's helped. But we'll get into that conversation at a later date. And but please hit up Craig on his website, on his social media, and it'll be in the show notes. Craig, thank you so much for coming on the show today. I am number one, guys. I am taking on Craig's challenge. You're going to see whether we put up or shut up. And this is Leadership to Wealth. And if you want to build wealth, the areas that are important to you. And this is one of the areas that are important to me. And so, Craig, I'm looking forward to the journey that we're going to go walk. We're going to go run, and we're going to go lift. And thank you so much for coming on the show today.
My pleasure, man. Really enjoyed the conversation.